I've been kicking it with Cøøg. I've been kicking it with Cøøg. I've been kicking it with Cøøg. I've been kicking it with. Welcome to episode 1 of Kicking It with Cøøg on YouTube. I am Cøøg, and here to my left. That was good, right?
Hi, Cøøg.
How's it going, Joe? How you doing?
Good to see you again.
For the people who don't know,
yeah,
who the heck are you?
Creative director, have a studio in Pawtucket, worked for Kanye West for 8 years, now work in the music industry, video game industry. Started a clothing line 3 years ago, have a second clothing line that's currently going to be in PacSun and Urban Outfitters. We just got into those two.
Boom, interview's over. We did everything.
All right, cool. Peace to you guys. Thanks for setting up for an hour.
So last time we talked, it was on my podcast. It was like maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
You just wrapped up everything for Mason. You even announced that Club Fantasy was like out, but like the idea was like.
The idea was out there, and I was currently working on the artwork and kind of bringing the concept together and then working with my team out in LA.
Half a year later, how you feeling?
I feel really good. It took us, it's 6 months after the launch now, and like I said, we just got into Urban and PacSun, so we're kind of solidifying those deals, and that feels really good. So now it's going to be out in the country. What?
How did that come about?
I've got a brilliant team out in Los Angeles, marketing team called Lush Network, and they kind of handle all the storefront orders and the marketing and the social media marketing. So, and they're killing it. The other brand that they have in their wheelhouse is Siberia Hills, and that thing's killing it. Yeah.
So.
And Midnight Studios with Shane Gonzalez.
Take us through the difference between running Mason and running Club Fantasy, because they're two completely different brands, two completely different aesthetics, but still dope nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, with Mason, everything was done in-house with me. I funded it 100%, so I had all the creative control. With Club Fantasy, I still have all the creative control, but I have a partner who funded the whole line, 5-4 Group in Los Angeles, and they handle the manufacturing, the fulfillment, all this shit that really a creative like myself just doesn't want to kind of deal with from the day to the day. So I just strictly focus on creative and coming up with new collections and future collaborations. Speaking
of future collaborations, anything we can talk about? That we can't talk about, that's ready to go?
I mean, not right now. I mean, we're definitely cooking up some footwear collaborations and doing a full look for music artists and TBD. So I'll be making those announcements in the next few months, but gonna be big.
Speaking of music artists,
yeah,
you worked with an artist that some people might know, Beyonce.
Yeah,
Lion King soundtrack. Take us through that, because that's a fucking huge deal.
Yeah, so initially we were going to work with her on the Carters, and that didn't work out just because of their timeline, and I was on vacation. But yeah, we took on the Lion King. They hit us back over the summer, and I partnered with a longtime collaborator, Hedy Zant, out in Germany again. And he's got to be one of the best 3D artists in the world for sculpting and doing kind of like this jewelry work and historical kind of 3D work. But and yeah, he's traditionally trained, so he can actually sculpt in marble and do all that crazy shit. So it makes him like going into 3D and Maya, just bar none the best. But yeah, working with Beyonce's team was awesome. It was really a true collaboration, went back and forth between me, myself, Jenna Marsh, and then her creative director and their team. And then Beyonce just kind of saw the final product, and it was one of those great moments where she saw it and kind of just signed off on it.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of work behind the scenes. You're looking at, for that one cover, about a month and a half of just 7-day grinds to get it to that point.
That's like crazy. Like
you
like told me about it, I just didn't believe you. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, we're currently still working on the packaging.
Really?
So yeah, we're trying to wrap that this month and get it out the door. But yeah, it was a great experience. It was awesome, and she was like one of my goals to work with.
Who else is on this list of goals?
Definitely Jay.
Definitely Jay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty damn close. Beyonce
and then Kendrick. So like those are the kind of the top artists that I still haven't worked with. But yeah, Beyonce is now scratched off that list.
So for those who don't know, you've worked with like Kanye, you've worked at A$AP Rocky, you've worked
Nicki, Pusha,
Janelle
Big
Monáe.
Sean, Janelle, yeah.
Who has been the easiest person to work with?
Beyonce.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
you would think that'd be the most difficult because
no, she had an excellent creative team. So I can't say how awesome they are enough. It's just so they made it a smooth transition. So they were kind of the buffer for us. And she, they kind of presented everything to her there, and then we were, went back and did iterations or more designs based on their feedback.
Speaking of Janelle Monáe, you mentioned off camera that.
Yeah, so Pace Magazine just came out with their top 30 album covers of the 2010s, and she's number 23. So it's a pretty big honor, and I know other lists are coming out, and every magazine is kind of skewed toward their demographic and readers, but it's still cool to be on it. You know?
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
I feel like in the 2010s, you've been a part of like damn near every like.
Yeah, I was kind of weirded out that they didn't include Watch the Throne or any kind of Ye covers, so that's just, it kind of blew my fucking mind.
Honestly, that is kind of weird.
You know, because especially, I mean, Dark Twisted Fantasy is amazing too, but I feel like Watch the Throne set a design tone for like a good 3 to 5 years after.
Even with Cruel Summer, I feel like the packaging alone on that album was incredible.
Yeah, that was a cool one too, but I feel like Watch the Throne is still, it was nominated for a Grammy in that packaging. It was like still one of the best covers that came out of Ye's camp, I think.
It definitely was. I definitely agree with that. I mean, I feel like you're a little biased, but
hey man, I'm just trying to, get everybody in there.
No, I get it, man. Congratulations on that again.
Hey, thanks. Sure. Appreciate it.
So, damn, it's been so long since we linked up.
A little bit. I feel like it's been over a year.
This is for those who don't know, like this is how I catch up with you. I like form an interview, and I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna kick it with Joe.
And then once in a while we see each other out.
Yeah, every so often we're both like just super busy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're always here.
I'm always here. I'm always here with my team, and we're always working like sometimes 7 days a week. But Club Fantasy is really a beast, and it's a full-time job. And other than that, I'm full-time creative director for DJ Tiesto as well.
Really?
And I don't think a lot of people know that. And
I don't know that at all.
We're on his cycle. We did a awesome pop-up in Miami earlier this year in April, March and April. And then we've just been on his last LP release, all the singles, all the merch, like all the marketing materials. So that's the second full-time job. And then the third full-time job is all the other fucking freelance I take on top of that.
Do you sleep?
Nah. I usually work until 3, and then I do sleep. Like my hours are like 3, and then I wake up around noon. I come back in here and do it again.
Tell us about your team here. It seems like they're always here as well.
Yeah, I got Den over there, and then Elijah's here, and they help me on Lion King, and Cousin Stiz was another project we worked on this year. We just finished an album cover for City Morgue, and we did merchandise a couple months ago for them, and then we're going to be doing merchandise again and possible packaging for that whole album. So we just keep cranking here, man. And then we're also working with Converse too. So we worked on a few T-shirts for Converse Overtime events out in Brooklyn, New York, and then we rebranded all of Converse basketball division. Yeah, they brought it back. And they have this new shoe called the Pro BB, and we actually just worked on a pack that's coming out for the holidays, and we named it, and it's going to be launching, and we creative directed all of the photo content, put all that together. So that team is amazing too. I can't speak more highly of a team I've worked with in the last couple of years in Converse.
Converse is incredible, man.
Yeah, great culture up there, corporate. So
isn't there a building in Boston?
Yeah, it's Boston Harbor.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
it's
anytime
like pretty
we have a
local.
meeting, we go up there. Yeah, and when I say we, it's like I have a separate team that's based in New York that I work with for that has more of a hand in advertising and agency design. So it's good to kind of collaborate with that team on something like a Converse or a Nike or anything else that's kind of within that corporate sector.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
To the left of me, I see a pair of Fear Gods you worked on.
I do, and that was late. I mean, I actually worked on that I think in 2017, and it came out in late 2018. And it was great and experience. And again, working with Jerry is like we go way back since we worked on the Yeezus line and all the internal stuff at Donda and Kanye's studio. And then recently I was out in San Francisco, and I hit him up, and I'm like, yo, like we got to work together again. And he's like, yeah, I'm here now. You should come down to LA. So flew down to LA. I worked out of the Fear of God studio, and we worked on a bunch of new branding and new designs for his upcoming collections. And I really can't go into depth about it, but again, Jerry's a homie. So.
How's that feel to see like so many people you worked with on like when you worked with Kanye, like flourishing like between you, Jerry, Virgil? You guys are all
Jerry's
just
a
shit.
Fucking beast. Like I mean, I love him as a person, but as a creative, it's just like there's very few people I've ever met or come in contact with that are that hyper focused on a singular vision. And everything that comes out of Fear of God and Jerry, it's just like it passes by his eyes, and he knows exactly what he wants. But every decision he makes is really informed and is just really smart. So I really respect his vision and what he's doing.
What are some of the plans you have for Club Fantasy going into like the new year?
Definitely a lot more collaborations. You know, you're going to see not just footwear, but eyewear, jewelry.
Okay.
And then you're going to see it expand more so into footwear and accessories. So that's really the big plan. And then more stores, you know. So Selfridges in UK and Europe and then over here at PacSun.
Will we be getting more Mason, or is that just kind of?
I felt like Mason was a learning experience, and it's kind of like a one and done brand.
Okay.
You know, since it was self-funded, it was a pretty expensive endeavor. You know, and I learned a lot from it, and I wanted to have full creative control, and it was cool to see how it was received. But I felt like it had its time and place, and now I'm kind of on with the club, and able to kind of hit a larger demographic. It's just more accessible, I feel like.
What would be some advice you would give to like up and coming like designers, freelancers, people working on brands? Because you do everything. So what would be some advice?
Well, I mean, advice is given specifically. So I mean, just overall advice.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think partnerships and collaborations are just key to success, and the right partnerships. You know, it's like we just talked about. I have partnerships in LA with a marketing team and an investor. And both the people I've known from way back and I trust fully, you know, outside of business, you know, it's like just really solid people. So I think that's probably the most important, building your network, because without a network, I would never have gotten those contacts or
Absolutely.
have met any of those people. So, and of course, like, you know, working for somebody like Kanye helps with that too.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I think it's like a good little resume.
A few little doors and shit like that. So.
Did you like Jesus is King? Can I ask you that?
Yeah, no, I really like that album. So, I mean, I thought I could connect with it more than Ye, I guess, sonically.
Yeah.
You know, again, I don't know about the Chick-fil-A shit, but everything else is pretty solid.
Yeah, I didn't like the Chick-fil-A song at all. But I mean,
I like the production of it, but yeah, I feel like he's kind of like back on his kick now.
Will we ever see like you guys work together again?
I don't know. I mean, I really enjoyed my time there.
Yeah.
And I respect everything he's done for me and with my career and all the projects I got to work on. But, you know, I feel like after 8 years, you know, it's time for you to do your own thing and move on. And there's other challenges and life leads you in different directions. So, I mean, I'm not going to discount it. I'd love to work with him again, but probably in a different capacity than I did before, you know?
Let's talk about like being from Rhode Island. So every time I tell people like there's a guy from Rhode Island, he's worked with Ye and worked with all these incredible artists, they don't believe me. Like, how important is it like being back here, having a studio in here, working with people from here?
Yeah, it's incredibly important. I mean, I always had a vision in my mind that I would not just go to school in LA and when I moved back there for work, Rhode Island was always in the back of my mind. I'm like, I always have to take what I learned here and build my own studio there. It's just the only way I feel like I can kind of build a design center within Rhode Island. And I know it already exists. There's other studios here, and I've met a lot of designers in the community, but I feel like the type of work that we do here is pretty unique for the area.
Absolutely.
And I think it brings a lot of unique opportunities back to this state, and you know, to go back into the history of Rhode Island, you know, it's just like a lot of shit. I mean, the whole country was basically started here. We were the first state that believed in separation of church and state, and that kind of basically dictated a lot of, you know, how we set up our overall U.S. government, you know. So I feel like this is in a really important place, and I kind of want to grow the community and be a part of it here versus like anybody can go to fucking LA and live there, but after a while it just gets gross, and I don't know, I'm just more inspired to work here.
No, I definitely think it makes sense. I feel like even when you get a chance to like leave Rhode Island, like I lived in Atlanta for 3 years, I feel like I learned a lot. Coming back home, I think brings a different type of inspiration.
Yeah, it gives you a different perspective too, because in LA you can get really lost and get caught up in the scene out there in entertainment. And then you come back here, and I can always clear my head and think straight, and just not be bothered by any kind of external forces. The best way I can sum up LA, it's like a very large high school, you know, cafeteria and lunchroom where everybody's kind of like off in their own little cliques, and there's a lot of gossip and shit like that. But here, like, you know, I feel like I can get stuff done and focus on what's important, not just with work, but overall life goals.
And you get to travel all the time too, so you gotta get the best.
I'm in LA like every other month, you know. I'm not knocking it by any means, because I know a lot of people move out there and they really love it, but you know, it's just to each their own.
It's good to go home. It's good to go home.
I just like Rhode Island more.
I get it. Listen,
I see potential.
I love Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I travel a lot, and I just always find myself being like, I want to come back home. Being home is where it's just inspiring. There's a lot of creative things going on here.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking gems out here.
A lot of history.
Absolutely. So, what are you listening to right now?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like my whole, yeah, I mean, Jesus is King, but I mean, everything is just, you know, the group Spoon? I just started re-listening to them.
What kind of music did they make?
It's kind of like indie rock, but now that rock is dead, it's, you know, it's like they haven't really produced anything for a while. But that's about it, you know.
Spoon and Kanye West.
Yeah, Spoon and Kanye West.
I dig it. What's inspiring you right now, outside of like
these
guys right here? Elijah just walked in.
Taking a vacation.
Hi, Elijah.
The idea of taking a break. I'm going to be taking a hiatus, I feel like, at some point this year, and just kind of traveling for fun. But as far as like creative outputs, what's inspiring? I don't know, honestly. I haven't lifted my head up long enough to be able to answer and give you a clear answer.
Because you're working so much on your own stuff.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing. And that's part of the reason why I want to take a break.
Where do you plan on traveling to for your like actual break?
Japan, and then somewhere tropical, and maybe Iceland. Yeah.
Well, always want to go to Japan.
Yeah, I want to see the whole country. So, I mean, that to me would be inspiring, because that culture, I feel like, you know, not just there's parts of that culture that have inspired me, whether it's, you know, their film industry or their animation industry, and definitely now I'm hooked on video games. Yeah.
What are you playing right now?
Well, playing a lot of Call of Duty. I'm playing
so
a lot of Apex Legends.
I'm so awful at both. So you're a shooter kind of guy.
Yeah, now I am, but I was on my Street Fighter kick earlier this year, and it didn't go over well. I just didn't have a temperament for it. So.
A temperament for it.
Yeah, many a controller have fallen.
Jesus Christ. For those who don't know, there's like a wild big ass TV and a PS4 behind us.
Yeah, that's gonna be in a separate room when we move upstairs and expand.
Yeah,
should probably be a good thing. But yeah.
So video games, traveling, Spoon, Kanye West.
Yeah, I guess that's my inspiration right now.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we've been working on a lot, man. I mean, earlier this year, Club Fantasy aside, the other brands that we worked on were Louis Vuitton.
Oh, there's that brand.
Small brand.
You guys probably heard about it.
Yeah, so
take us through that.
That came about because I sent Virgil a Club Fantasy like garment, you know, just a picture of one, and he saw the type and he really liked it. He's like, oh shit, you know, he's like, I'm doing this project with LV and I want you to do some experimentations with type and logo work and that kind of shit. So yeah, I took it on. I hired, I basically curated 3 designers that I thought were just awesome at typography and doing their own kind of logos, like Mikey Joyce, Jacob Wise, and then my intern I had in here earlier this year, Katie McIntyre, and they kind of went at it. And then the person who won, whose logo, who finally ended up on a sneaker, was Jacob Wise.
Oh wow, congrats to him.
And he's a designer in London, but he's a solid dude.
How do you, like, it seems like you're really good at finding like people to work with. How do you find
Instagram, baby?
Use the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I always go through young designers, like followers and who they follow, and then I find more designers and more Instagrams of design, and I find out who's doing what, and then just kind of cherry pick and put them on projects that I feel like they best fit aesthetically, and then a lot of them I've worked with them in Club Fantasy.
I think it's really dope that you give opportunities like that. I feel like that's like one of the biggest obstacles a lot of creators have, whether they make music, make clothes. Like, it's kind of hard to find, especially like people who are seasoned to work with. Yeah,
I mean, I think one of the biggest drawbacks you can do to any project or music artist is, say if you're a creative director of a music artist or you're working in a project, is being greedy. It's just, and being greedy from a creative perspective, it's like, I want to do everything, and maybe you're not good at everything. I think it's much better to bring in people that you feel like just embody the aesthetic and or better than you as certain aspects of it, and that is going to make the project overall stronger, and it's going to make you look better as a creative director. But as soon as you shut down all of that and you just do everything for your artists cycle after cycle after cycle, after a while it's a detriment to them because they're not really producing anything new, and they should be kind of exploring other talent.
How does one get in touch with Joe Perez if they want to show you some work? How does that happen? Do they just hit you up on Instagram?
Hey, man, I have a website and I have a gram, yeah. And my email's on my website, so feel free.
All the creatives hit up.
I get hit up often, so.
That's dope though that you respond and you work with people. Like I remember when Elijah first started interning, I thought that was dope because Elijah's definitely someone from the city that I like.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with.
Well, I'm always I try to go to as many live events and things about this city and Boston, and I've met most of my team going through
You do go to a lot of events.
So I mean, I met Den over there at Virgil's Talk at RISD, and then met my two guys that worked together on Janelle Monáe and the Beck album at a pop-up in Boston. So you never know who you're gonna meet where. So I try to make it a point to go to as much as possible.
You definitely do pop up for sure. Because I think the last like few pop-ups I've like went to just supporting like whether it was Alphabets, Unknown, you were there.
Yeah, no, I'm friends with Josh, so yeah, I always like to go up and support.
Nah, yeah, Josh is definitely incredible.
Yeah. So that's how. Usually, if I find you, it's a better sign.
Nah, for sure.
I'm always looking. Yeah.
Damn, that's really cool, man. Like I said, I think that's super dope. That especially like I do like the music thing, I do like the fucking podcasting thing, and I feel like the people who are like in these crazy positions are never really looking to like extend their hand. So like I think it's very dope that someone as seasoned as you has made it a point to be like, I'm gonna help all these design if I think they're dope, of course.
Yeah.
Put them in a position for them to win and get their first few placements, and then because if I remember correctly, you had an intern that is doing Post Malone stuff. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like my old assistant who I had was using at Donda, and he worked on a lot of stuff like Kim's Selfie Book and Tyga. Him and his cohort went on to work for Post Malone. They handle all the creative direction, but mostly it's just this one guy named Travis Brothers, and then Brian Rivera, who was my assistant, was kind of helps him with the album art and the merchandise.
And I just feel like those those first few steps that you provided helps people get to a bigger platform.
Yeah, no, it does. So
that's incredible, man.
Yeah, I believe in that dude, and I really I kind of propped him up and gave him a lot of opportunities. So, and then he took it and ran with it. So. That's a fact. I couldn't ask for more.
Are there any brands that might have not popped off yet that you're just like fucking with?
Not really. And I have my ear to the ground pretty hard there, And I see a lot of the new brands that are coming through, like my showroom as well. But no, I mean, like right now, I'm just fucking with like Boris Bajin and Rick Owens. That's really it. It's my wave right now.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Inspire Joe next year, guys.
I mean, I like Brain Dead.
Brain Dead's jiggy.
Yeah, but it's not a new brand.
Yeah.
So I like Misbehave as well.
What's your favorite brand of all time? I don't think I've asked you that before on camera.
Favorite brand of all time?
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's a hard one, right?
I mean, you talk about every brand, like Pepsi, Coke, or just clothing brand?
Well, let's do both. Let's do both, actually, because you're definitely more than clothes.
Yeah, favorite brand. I mean, I think Apple's going to be always my favorite brand just because I grew up with the whole, Steve Jobs kick. My dad took me to all the fucking Apple expos. And
Wait,
shit
really?
Like that. Yeah. So back when, when Steve Jobs was booted and they were making like really shitty computers, like, I'd go to all those expos, and then I would go to the ones where, the new iMac was released. And
that's incredible. Back. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wish I was older so I could have bought stock.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's my favorite brand of all time, just because of it's such a church in the way the way Steve kind of ran it, just made it something for every creative to aspire to. But now it's completely different. So they've turned into what they were fearing, from way back. They're basically like IBM now. But that being said, a favorite clothing brand probably be I don't know, Boris Bajin right now.
Really?
Yeah. I'm wearing it, so I'm wearing the hoodie.
That is a jiggy fucking hoodie.
Yeah.
I want Apple. I feel like, did you meet Gibran through Apple?
I met Gibran through Apple, yeah.
That's...
Yeah, I was dating a girl who worked at Apple, and an employee had a party, and I met Gibran at the party.
And then he ended up working with Kanye with you?
That's another person. We worked together on the blog for about a year, and then when the blog kind of shrank back down, it's like, he moved on, but yeah, it was a good experience.
Talk about the blog. I love the blog era. Not more than just the Kanye blog era, the blog era in general. That's such a fucking time that my videographers videographers are a little younger than me, and I always talk about it, and they're just like, "What the fuck?"
What? Before apps?
Yeah, the fucking blog era.
Yeah, it was like apps, but not. But yeah, it was fun when everybody started curating.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was cool because you get all these mood boards of inspirations. You could definitely tell people who had taste versus not. And what was crazy to me was Kanye used that as like his Indeed or whatever. He'd go out and hire people based off their blogs. Like,
so crazy.
His two stylists came from a blog. like Mike Carson,
yeah,
Mike Wax. They ran a blog, and they came from a blog, and now look at Mike Carson's killing.
I didn't know he got him from a blog.
Yeah, and then like Justin Saunders Jound, like he ran a blog. Yeah, he still does.
I should have blogged earlier. If I was a little older and I was blogging, I would have been on.
So he found all those dudes from blogs, you know, or Virgil did. So
look at all you guys now.
Yeah.
Kind of got the eye, man.
Yeah.
Well, his team too.
Yeah. It was a solid team, so everybody's doing well.
So this time next year, we're probably gonna sit down as we always do.
Yeah.
And what's like the biggest thing that needs to happen for you in 2020 after your hiatus? We'll definitely talk about Japan.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's taking the club fantasy to the next level and definitely going global, more so than what we're doing now. So I want to expand it, get into a lot more stores, make it more accessible, do a secondary line or third line to club fantasy. We're doing like a possible sportswear line called Hyperactive, which is part of club fantasy. We're doing just a full women's line as well.
Okay, so expanding the brand.
Yeah. Traveling.
So it sounds like 2020 is to be a good one for you.
Yeah, and primarily taking on music artists that makes sense. You know, I feel like we worked a lot this year, and I think one of the best projects we worked on was Cousin Stiz. So I think
I love Stiz.
Yeah, and the idea that he was local and helping somebody from that scene, I think was really cool. So
how did that come about before you wrap up?
Oh, Gibran.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So he made the connection, and yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, I want to say I saw Elijah post it first, and I was like, holy shit, this is a very good look for Stiz. And
yeah.
On both ends. I thought it was really good bringing like the New England states together.
Oh yeah, his photography was dope. You know, everything was done in here, so I felt really good about it.
The studio, man.
And he's awesome. He's an awesome dude. So I went to his
really
listening party and shit like that up in Boston, and just sweetest guy ever, and yeah.
So you can see some more work with Stiz in the
I hope so. I mean, I hope we're on the next album. But like I said, it's just like, you know, depending on his next wave, you know, it's like who else can you work with? Who else can we bring in the mix to make it feel fresh? And hopefully we can work on his tour merch, you know. That'd
be fucking dope.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I want to see more like tour merch from you. One of my favorite things you did was the Rolling Loud stuff.
Rolling Loud, yeah, that was fun. And again, that was the same team who worked on Janelle and then worked on Beck's album this year.
You have a good team, man.
Yeah.
I think that's like the what I'm taking from this whole interview. You just have an incredible team, and you guys kill it every time.
I got lucky, yeah. So
they're giving me the.
Oh, we're out of time, but yeah.
Per usual. Thank you for your time, brother.
Appreciate you.
I love catching up with you. You gotta do this more, man.
Yeah, thank you, crew, for your setup and your time.
Yeah, no, they're good. They were late, but they're good.
Yeah. Can that camera go under water?
No. Okay. No. Kicking It, episode 1. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was fun.
Yeah, likewise.
I've been kicking it with Cøøg.
Oh,
I've been kicking it with Cøøg. Got a lot of shit to lose. I've been kicking it with Cøøg.